So the first question, if you could please introduce yourself with your name and the title of the role that you had at Teraflow.
I'm Brendon De Meyer. I was the Cloud Operations Discipline Lead at Teraflow.
And what do you think made your Teraflow experience unique and unlike any other company that you've worked for?
The thing about working for Teraflow, it's a bit of a culture, it's a mind-shifting culture. You start working with them and then they sell you this whole idea on culture and things like that. You think, no, it can't be possible. I'm going to run into the corporate stuff eventually. And you just never do. So it's like buying a second-hand car and actually getting what the guy sells you. It's a very, very cool experience. So that was nice. There's the transparency factor and things like that. So even when things are going really, really well and when things are going less well, you know exactly what's going on. You kept up to date and those sorts of things. So from a talent perspective, or not even from a talent attraction perspective, just from an employee well-being perspective, you're always in touch with what the business is doing. From a talent attraction perspective, when Teraflow says something on LinkedIn, it's true. They do it. I can't make it up. And that's one of the cooler things. The other part that is really, really cool about Teraflow is the sort of projects that they get, because they sort of come out of left field sometimes, where these guys or these organizations are looking for what has been actively told is impossible from a technological perspective. And as multiple providers say, no, we can't do it this way, we can't do it this way. Teraflow's like, oh, we'll give it a shot. And we've never not delivered, or Teraflow's never not delivered in that space. So you get to work on some really, really cool projects, and some of the projects that we worked on were groundbreaking at the time. And the other part about that also makes it interesting is that they're seeing their success. So when we do a cool thing, whatever it might be, it's well publicized. We get the articles out there. We use that for reusable assets in terms of configurations in the next client and those sorts of things. And we really just did cool stuff, and we told everyone about it. And that's fun because it builds your brand. So it's the culture and the sort of fun projects that you work on that really makes it a great experience.
Yeah, I think the content of the work is a huge draw for engineers in particular, right? For anybody, but I think that the as you put it, the coolness of the project, like the challenge itself, is the attraction, isn't it? It's like, okay, what do I get to actually do with these skills that I have when I get to that place? So that's awesome. Thank you. And then the next one, I'm not sure if this was solidly in place when you were at Teraflow, but the EVP, like the employee value proposition, the promise that Teraflow makes its team members is that Teraflow will double your market value. Do you feel like that was the case for you? And if so, can you just give me a little bit of detail around that?
So the EVP of doubling your market value is a multifaceted idea, and we were starting to play with it when I was with Teraflow. And the thing about your market value, it's not just rands and cents that make it into your account at the end of the month. It's your brand exposure, it's your project exposure, it's your knowledge and skills that you gain, and it's the interactions that you have with very, very unique talent in the industry. So yes, they do absolutely do that. And yes, they have made me far more employable. They have made me far more lucrative in my employment offerings. And my network is bigger and more robust as a result of my time with Teraflow. So the EVP that your market value gets doubled is actually a bit of an undersell, because in some aspects it more than doubles, and in some aspects it's right on par. So it's a very multifaceted promise, and yes, it does play out.
Awesome, thank you. It's really nice to know in my position as recruitment lead that that's what's going on, right? Because every time I meet with a new potential team member, I'm telling them this, and it's just comforting to know, of course it's true, but just to really know that it's true and to have these actual examples of people who have lived the experience. Okay, and then finally, tell us about what you have gone on to do next.
After my journey with Teraflow, I decided to get a bit more into the educational sector, and was heading up technology for an educational group, and working with them on stabilizing their systems to the point that it's enterprise grade, and that's one thing that also Teraflow teaches, that enterprise doesn't need to cost sort of IBM level money. It's your ways of work that drive that enterprise thinking, and then you adjust your systems and you scale the systems as you need to. So I got to do that for a few months with a very, very dynamic education group. That was fun. It was really exciting. But that consulting bug and that consultative bug and getting into the cloud builds and things like that, it always bites. So I'm getting back into that and driving the next organization to their cloud journey and cloud dream, which is cool. I mean, I'm walking straight into it. It's great. It's a lot of fun, and taking a lot of the ways of work and applying that to the engineering team that I'm seeing now. That there's a mixed bag of juniors, mids, and seniors, and being able to take those learnings, because Teraflow aren't proprietary about what you've learned whilst you're with them. So being able to apply some of those really cool principles in a more brick and mortar type organization, and get those cool ways of work going. We can replicate as much of it. It'll never be another Teraflow, but there's nothing wrong with taking what I've learned and how we experience it and saying, this really worked well for me. I think it worked well here, and let's keep those engineering teams happy. So that's where I am right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's another sort of lovely element of this, isn't it? Is that there's no sort of possessiveness over the information that's been gathered, the ways of working that you've learned, and so on. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, get out there and do this thing because it's working. So why wouldn't you? Why can't you? And that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. It's not any secret sauce. It's like all gold. Everyone knows there's 36 tomatoes in the sauce. So it is what it is.
Like Coca-Cola put their recipe up online. Go for it, guys.
Yeah.
Knock it out of the park. Awesome. Well, thanks, Brendon. That's it. That's literally all I need in terms of your time. Really, really appreciate it, and all the best. Hey, good luck out there. Hope it's fantastic.
Thanks for considering me for this. I appreciate it.
Okay. Take care. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.